Hi guys, and welcome back, and in today's video we're going to be having a bit of a biology lesson, and I'm going to take you through the anatomy of a makeup brush. I'm going to talk about some of the things that you need to look out for when you are in the market for purchasing brushes, and hopefully by the end of this video you will be a little bit more informed and you will know exactly what you need to look for. So for the purposes of this video, I am going to focus on synthetic fiber brushes. So you do get natural fiber brushes as well, which are sable hair, squirrel hair, goat hair, but a lot of even the top commercial brands like Estee Lauder, MAC and Bobbi Brown, they stopped using natural fibers in their brushes around about 2018. So I'm going to focus on synthetic fibers, which of course are also cruelty free. I launched my own makeup brush range in February of this year. I spent the better part of last year doing a whole lot of research into the components of brushes, and specifically the synthetic fibers and the technologies and what goes into making the fibers, because I was really intrigued. When all of these top brands stopped using natural fibers in their brushes, I really expected the brushes to halve in price, because obviously natural fibers, they're a lot more work intensive, they're animals that need to be farmed, and they're a lot more labor intensive and all that kind of thing. And so I really expected that with a synthetic fiber it would really bring the prices of the brush down. But to my amazement, I found that we are now paying more than we ever have for some of these top brands, and specifically here in South Africa we do pay a premium. And so I did some research to find out what was behind it all, and I'm very pleased to tell you that while there is indeed a correlation between quality and price in terms of a synthetic fiber, it gets to a certain point where anything that you're paying beyond that point, you are paying for the name. So just consider that that money is wasted unless you are particularly hell-bent on owning a MAC brush or a Bobbi Brown brush. Just know that a synthetic fiber is, I don't want to say they're all created equal, they're definitely not, but you know, there is a tipping point after which you really just are paying for the name of the brush. So I'm going to start off, and I'm using just one of our powder brushes for the purposes of demonstration, and we're just going to talk about the makeup of a brush. So here you have the handle. Now, depending on the brush range, your handle can be plastic, it can be aluminium, it can be wood, it can be bamboo, and it really doesn't make any difference to the use of the brush. It just makes a difference to the aesthetic. So really whatever you prefer. And then you have the ferrule, and this is the silver bit in which your fibers are housed. Now you do get different materials for ferrules. Generally most kind of middle of the road, even high-end brands use aluminium, which is what this one is, but you do get really top end brushes, and those would be some of your Japanese brushes where your ferrule is actually brass. So it really just depends on the brush range, but they all do the same thing. And then of course you have the head or the fiber. So what are the things to look out for when you are looking for a brush? What are the kind of fibers that you need to look out for? Well, the first thing is to ensure that the brush has a real softness about it. And technology has come such a long way that you can now produce a synthetic fiber that feels just like sable hair. So that is probably the first obvious thing that you're going to look for, is how does the brush feel on the skin? Because obviously you don't want anything that is going to be scratchy. But there's more to it than that. So it's not just a case of how the brush feels on your skin, it's also the quality of the fiber and its ability to pick up pigment from a pan and then to lay down the pigment on your face. So definitely, how well does it do that? You don't want to have a brush where maybe you're getting a lot of pigment on the brush, but you're really struggling to apply the pigment because it just kind of sticks to the brush. So you want a brush that can pick up pigment easily and that can also lay down and blend the pigment on your skin. And again, that comes down to the quality of the fiber. Now, you get synthetic cheap, and then you get synthetic quality. And the easiest way to tell the difference is to look at the shine on the bristles. So if you find a brush where the bristles are really, really shiny, I actually don't, I wouldn't, there would be no reason why I would have one of those in my stash. So I can't give you an example, but you'll recognize them if you're going into the drugstore and you see a brush where the bristles are just a little bit too shiny for your liking. Then the chances are you're not going to have much luck with picking up pigment, applying pigment and blending it out, because those are going to be just a very straightforward synthetic fiber. So the synthetic fibers that are really great quality, they have a tiny little wave in them, which is almost invisible to the naked eye. But the little wave on the fiber catches the pigment. So when you dip your brush into the pigment, it manages to catch the pigment, and then it also creates a little bit of friction when you are applying the pigment to your skin. So it will then have the ability to give you the color on your face. The pigment is not going to stick to the bristles of the brush. Then you're going to be wanting to look at the craftsmanship of the brush. So how is it put together? And you don't want a brush where you're going to get a lot of shedding. So as you're applying your makeup, you're going to get a lot of little hairs that fall out of the brush kind of onto your face. And that is a dead giveaway that you have got a brush that is really poor quality. You can expect the odd little fiber to shed, but it should be an exception and not the rule. Another way to tell whether your brush range is good quality is by looking at the softness of the fibers in a densely packed brush. So when you have a brush like this where your fibers are quite densely packed, the feel should still be very, very soft. So you wouldn't expect it to have any kind of roughness to it, even though the fibers are really, really densely packed together. I also just wanted to add that as well as being cruelty-free, your synthetic fibers are also fully washable. They're very, very easy to wash. Generally, across brands, a synthetic brush can be used on liquids and powders and creams as well. So they really are quite hardy, and they will last you a very long time if you do purchase a quality brush. So guys, those are some of the things to look out for when you are on the hunt for a brush and you just a little bit unsure of the things that you need to look out for. Let me know in the comments down below if you have a regular brand that you purchase from. What is your go-to and what do you absolutely love about them? I'd love to hear from you, so please leave me a comment down below. If you are interested in checking out my brand, I will put a link to the website in the description box below. There is a 15% off coupon code as well. We have been featured in Fair Lady, Rui Rosa and Glamour, so do look out for that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.